Hey guys, welcome back to the Nets, the home of unbiased views. This is a channel where we talk about football and cricket a little bit. But whenever Elroy is with us, we talk about football and primary Arsenal and clubs and players that are linked with Arsenal currently. So the channel is back to the Nets. If you're visiting us for the first time, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you have come before and you like our content, or if you have comments, please leave it in the comments. Both of us are extremely active on Twitter, and you can see our Twitter handles down on the right hand side as well. So, hey, Elroy, welcome back.
Hey, Kayur. Pleasure as always to be here and discuss whatever's happening around Arsenal with you.
So, to start with, it has been a depressing week if you're an Indian cricket team fan,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
putting that behind us, there is so much to look
yeah,
forward to, especially in the world of football. Euro
yeah,
starting, and they are coming at the knockout stage.
yeah,
Pretty much, I mean, no surprises there. What was expected was has happened with the teams that have qualified. So let's start with for Arsenal. Let's start
yeah.
with the players that have been linked with Arsenal so far. So one of the big rumors, and it's believed that it's almost done. It's just about a matter of time. Is Ben White?
Yeah,
How do you
yeah.
think is that big of an addition to Arsenal? I mean, spending 50 million on a defender. How do you rate
Yeah.
that?
So, as you know, everyone knows this that one of the biggest issue is when you're going to buy a player from within the Premier League, and especially if the player is an English player, you're always going to pay way more than what you would normally pay for a similar player. So you're definitely paying almost 10 to 15 million more for him, and there's a reason consider and one of the reasons why you can say that his price tag has definitely gone up was because he's playing for the England national team. So that alone tells you that he's going to be he is an expensive player. Now, price is one thing, and there is obviously the other situation that everyone talks about, the fact that we already have players in that position. But if you are like 50 million does seem a lot for him, and especially when you consider the fact that the last time we paid 35 million for a center back, we all know how it turned out to be. But if you look at the way he has been playing, so one thing is that Ben White has played under Bielsa. He was very impressive for Leeds when he was on loan out there. And last season he played with Brighton, and he was really good at Brighton as well. So many people say that yes, Brighton finished 16th, but 16th was not a fair reflection of Brighton because they were a much better team. Like when you there's this always this joke that goes around because Brighton used to always win on XG, which shows that they used to usually dominate the games, most of the games, in terms of creating better quality chances, but they would always lose. And Ben White for me is a very so people would say that if if we are buying him from a 16th place team is people are skeptical about that. But then if you look at it, see, one, as I said, he has played for under Bielsa, and Bielsa, they from what I gather, Leeds did want to sign him, but then Brighton took him back. Uh, Liverpool were linked to him last year as well, if I'm not mistaken. And T4 Football, the is one. I mean, obviously they are, it's just a YouTube channel, but they have been quite highly. They used to rate him quite a bit in terms of suggesting him for a lot of clubs, as an option. So he, as a player, very exciting based on what I have seen, because he's good at defending. I've not seen a lot of his defending, but in terms of the video, he's very good on the ball. His distribution of the his passes are really good. He can carry the ball forward, very calm and controlled over the ball. He can dribble past players. So as that, when we have already lost David Luiz, who is vital in that. Luiz had a lot of issues overall. Maybe he was not fast enough, had that error in him. But one thing he was very good was on the technical side of the game, and that is what Ben White does get. So there are a lot of things to be excited and to be happy about. Yes, the price range is always going to be questioned. Now, and as I'm sure you also must be saying this, like we are a club that spent 72 million on Pepe. Now, I'm not saying Pepe is a bad player. He is a good player, but he was definitely not worth 72 million. So this price range is always going to come up, and that is, yeah, we are overpaying, but him getting called into the Euro squad would have definitely added another 5 million to what his rate would have already been on top of the him being an English player.
So two questions that spring into my mind straight away when we are signing a player or like Ben White. Are we going to play him as a right back, or are we going to play him as a center back? And if he's a center back, what does that mean to for someone like Saliba, who has shown all the promise in the world, and now suddenly he might be shown the doors because Arteta just doesn't think that way.
Yeah. So I think I'll get to the Saliba discussion soon. So Ben White can play as a right back and he can play as a in the midfield as well. Those are some points which I have read about him, and he played as a right back, as a right centre back in a back three as well for Brighton. He's played in multiple positions, very versatile. Now, for me, I don't think he will be as a right back. He will mainly be as a centre back. But I wouldn't rule out Ben White being used as a right back in case if see, first of all, we all know that Arsenal have a lot of work to do this summer. They are after, as we know, Ben White, who's a centre. They're after a centre back. They're after a right back. They're after backup left back. They're after almost two central midfielders if Xhaka leaves. Then they're after a backup goalkeeper as well. So that's already like five or six positions we are looking at. So amongst all of these things, in my opinion, it might be the case that Arsenal prioritize the right back pretty low, keep the right back low on their list. And if that is the case, I would say that maybe we will let Bellerin go for sure. Maybe we don't buy another right back, considering that we already have Chambers and
Cedric.
Cedric, and maybe Ben White is also used there. Now, I know that is not an upgrade as such in the right back position, because what we do need is an upgrade over Bellerin. But maybe it might just end up being a bit too much for the club to do in one window, and we might go down that path. It's just a, it's just what could happen. But apart from that, I think he will mainly be a centre back itself.
So, which brings me back to the next question. So far, in the last year, it was a year of surprises where Arsenal, for a change, were a team that had a better defensive record than an
Yeah,
offensive record. And that being said, the logical mind would have thought that we would be investing first into a creative midfielder,
yeah,
or reinforcing the forwards.
yeah,
But on the other hand, we have tried to strengthen defense again. And on top of that, another little change that UEFA came up with, that the away goals rule is going away, which gives me
yeah.
another reason to say that, okay, we have to strengthen our offense. But how insane is it to actually spend 50 million on a defense when your defense is actually doing good? It's doing better than your offense.
See, so that way, it does seem stupid, and a lot of people are worried that the fact that if we have spent 50 million on Ben White, then maybe we are allocating a lot of our resources to a center to a position which we shouldn't be a priority. And I agree to that. But I have 2 points for this. One would be that I do believe that Arsenal will still spend more. They have definitely will spend on a central midfielder who's definitely a priority, and maybe a central attacking midfielder. They are going to spend for sure, because it would be extremely stupid if we just spend such a huge chunk on a center back and don't prioritize further up the field. Now, in terms of if you go to look at it, see, our left center back positions are sorted. We have Gabriel and Murray, experienced and two different kind of center backs, both left-footed. That position is sorted. In the right center back area, currently we have Holding. You can consider Chambers maybe, and we have say Saliba. Now, Chambers is mostly going to be used as a right back, is what everybody feels right now. Holding has been good, but he's definitely not a first choice center back. Saliba, I think maybe Arteta is looking at it as a point. There's a massive gap because Holding is not up to the mark like as a first team player. I hope he does improve if because he is not unless he leaves, then it's a different game. And maybe they see that there could be some inexperience with Saliba, although I think he is a quality center back. So maybe I don't know what. To be honest, it's a bit difficult to justify this move a lot. But yeah, maybe we do need a center. That is why I was in a way I wanted David Luiz to in just one of the reasons why I wanted David Luiz to stay. But he going was I was absolutely fine. And it doesn't look good when you already have a 30 million 20-year-old center back and you're spending another 50 million. So that is definitely going to be one of the issues. But coming to the point that see, Arteta needs the team to be playing out from the back. And one of the things, for instance, you see the issue when Holding plays is the build up from the back is quite slow. And probably that is one of the reasons why, maybe our attack suffers as well. So if I have to play a devil's advocate and make a case for this would be maybe that with Ben White in the defense, we might have some extra quality in defense, and it will help us maybe start the attack a bit better as compared to what we are doing, and maybe it will help out the players up front. That is what I just hope is the case. And yeah,
So, if you could read between lines, and I'm just trying to think out of the box here, do you think that the fact that Daniel Ek keeps going back with newer bids means that at to a certain extent, Kroenke is looking at this as an investment that maybe not this year, but next year when Arsenal actually manages to get into Champions League or Europe somewhere or the other, he might sell it then, and he will make more than he will recover more than what it is right now. I'm just thinking out loud because if a billionaire keeps going back and what is happening behind the scenes is something we don't know. But the
yeah,
fact that Kroenke might not have said, no, it's, I'm not going to sell it. It may just
yeah,
be like, the price is not right. Come back to
yeah,
me with a bigger number. And Kroenke
yeah,
might be thinking in his head that maybe this is an investment. I may put in
yeah.
100, but I'll make 350 more when I
True.
sell it to him.
It is highly possible because at the end of the day, even the transfers that we are spending this season, it is room. It's not like it's coming straight away from Kroenke's pockets. It is a well-known fact that they have taken a loan from Barclays, and that loan will most likely be against the club itself. So tomorrow, if he sells the club at whatever value, there is a debt which is present, which whoever is buying it will have to. It will not go off. So none of this money is going off from the KSE's pockets right now. So that is how it is. And what you said is highly possible. Maybe we are putting all the cards on the table right now, going all in, spend big, see how high we can go, and maybe by then with the value of the club, if we are back in the Champions League or back again at a good spot, who knows.
So, and with the same thought process, I feel that there may be a change coming really soon if considering the first 6 games itself that we have with Arteta in charge are going to be real challenging ones. I think that a decision on Arteta might be, it won't be that far. If Arsenal do not have a good start to the season, we might actually
Yeah,
see Arteta being dropped and someone with more experience come in, just because the kind of money that is being poured into the
true.
club, they are showing
Yes,
some faith in
I
Arteta.
yeah. Yeah, that will definitely be the case, because it comes as a case of Lampard. Lampard got Chelsea through to the first year with the kids that he played, and with least investment because they had a transfer ban, although they had certain loopholes that was there. But if you look at it in terms of how for Arsenal also, it's going to be the same thing. This is definitely going to be a big summer. Like it's pretty well known, and if it is a big summer at the end, and if Arteta doesn't deliver, the decision will be. The only thing is, I feel that he might get time till November, December. Ideally, maybe he turns things around completely and we play well, but that's a high hope. But yeah, let's see. Now, coming to since you mentioned investment, and I forgot to talk about it in the first point was our 30 million investment, which is William Saliba. And this is actually a very, very confusing scenario. I mean, yes, we don't know what happens behind the scenes. So there is every possibility that on the training ground or something, maybe he was not up to the mark. And that is one of the reasons why he didn't feature last season. But he did play really well at Nice. And that is, again, he got into that French young player of the, like he's nominated for that role as well. So there is a lot about Saliba which seems to be good. And I find it really odd that he's already been linked with the move away when he's not even played a single professional game for Arsenal. And that is bothering me. So I was listening to one of the podcasts that is Askcast Extra, and this Asmlog, he made a valid point. He said it's speculation. Obviously, it's just a speculation. Could there be something wrong with the deal? Did Raul Sanlehi do something with the deal, which is why Arsenal just want to wash their hands away from it? Because I find it really odd that Arteta, is he really that stubborn that he's not going to, like, the world can see that Saliba is a talent, and is he going to be that stubborn that he doesn't want? I mean, I just find that a bit odd. Like, even if you are a very stubborn coach, you would, I mean, come on, you gave Mustafi a chance, damn it. So I feel that he would ideally give Saliba a chance. But the fact that, there are already talks of Saliba being sold, it just, you will start to question a lot of these things. Like, is there something wrong with the deal? Is there something shady that took place? Everybody knows that the moment Pepe's 72 million deal came into question, that Raul Sanlehi lost his job the next day. So is there something that the club are just scared about? I mean, we don't know, but it's just a really, really strange situation. And for me, I would go to maybe even sell, if we are, since we are buying Ben White. I wouldn't mind if someone like Chambers or Holding goes, and we get Saliba a chance, because buying Saliba was a good move by the club. Where we are investing in someone young and we are buying someone before they peak or hit a really good stage. And there's no signs of regress right now, at least, because he's impressed wherever he's gone. So it's a mystery. And to add to the mystery, just a couple of minutes before we started our call, uh, the news is out that Saliba has been selected for the France Olympics team, which means that he's going to miss quite a bit of the preseason as well, if I'm not mistaken. And might miss, I don't know if he'll miss the start of the season, but preseason. If he misses the preseason, that is a massive impact for him, for his Arsenal career, because right now he's planning of, like, till now we were reading about how he's going to come back in the preseason and he'll fight for a spot. And if he's not there here, it's just going to make things worse, in my opinion.
And I feel that it might just be curtains, but it still is mystery. You're correct. It's a mystery that a player of his caliber, who has proven himself, who has shown that he is doing everything right, his positional awareness, the way he's tackling, everything is good when he's playing with Nice. Just the fact that Arteta just refuses to give him a chance, or maybe it's Arteta is just the front voice and there is something else happening in the back.
Exactly. I mean,
So
so both ways, it is something strange. And you know I guess I really hope he does make it at Arsenal, but if not, we will. If he doesn't make it at Arsenal, then we'll only get to hear once the chapter is closed. Till then, I don't think we are going to get any proper information on this.
So let's talk about the other outgoing, which is definitely, which doesn't come in as a surprise, Torreira.
Yeah,
It's pretty much done that he will be choosing Italy over anybody else. And
I,
Napoli, I think, is the one
no,
that's
I
coming
think
after him.
it's Lazio who's after him. Although,
Okay.
yeah, the rumor is that they don't want to pay the 20 million, that is the asking rate. But this is the problem. The issue is that when it comes to, everybody knows that the English clubs have money. Like, everyone knows that Arsenal is somehow going to spend. So nobody's so when it comes to from them buying, other clubs seem to be struggling financially. So they seem to not have money to pay for their players, but everybody wants to quote a premium when they're buying Arsenal players. It's just, or any English player, as a matter of fact. It's just a very vicious cycle right now. But I really like, Torreira is not going to play for Arsenal for sure. That's almost guaranteed. But I just hope we can recover a good amount from him, because he is a good player and we should be recovering. We paid what, 20-25 million for him, 22, 25, and get. I'm not expecting us to get 20, but if we could get anything north of between 15 to 20, that would be great.
Good talent that we are losing, Guendouzi.
Yeah.
Again, a loose cannon, a little bit of
Yeah.
craziness on the field, but definitely curtains for him. There was,
Yeah.
I read it somewhere that, yeah, he's definitely on his way out. So
Yes, he
I,
is. Sure.
yeah, I always thought he had talent in him. For some reason, he decided to pick a fight with the wrong person in the dressing room, and I guess that is what has caused him
Yeah.
to not be a part of Arsenal anymore. Lacazette is a interesting, again, interesting out.
Yeah.
Uh, that I mean, it's been rumored that Monaco's coming for him, and
He-
our Arteta may not have any problem letting him go.
I think when it comes to Lacazette, that is basically uh, that will be the scene with him. It's like, if a good offer comes, Arsenal will happily let him go. If not, I think he will run down his contract, because look, if you get a bid for him and you can sell him, obviously you go and you reinvest in another striker. That's fine. I think what the problem for Arsenal right now is, as I mentioned at the start, there are too many positions that we need. And are we going to buy all these positions in one window? It's very difficult. I mean, on paper it might say that, oh, let's just get in 7 players, like how we play in a FIFA and our games that way. Let's just get in 7 players. What is 7 players? But on the pitch, it's a different dynamic to maintain a balance by getting 7 new faces all of a sudden. And especially if you're looking at like first team players, it's not an easy task to. If you notice how Wenger used to always bring around maximum 3 to 4 players, and that would be and out of the 3 to 4 players, I don't think all four would really be like first, like starters, regular starters that would change the entire ball. The only time he did that was, yes, when in 2012 when he bought those 5 players in uh, 2 days. But that was one of the rare exceptions. But other than that, you've rarely seen us going for more than 5 players in the window. And for Arsenal right now, with the positions that we are looking on, it's looking at almost 7, 8 players, which is quite a bit. And I don't think everything will take place. So my personal take is that we end up keeping Lacazette another year, and he just runs down his contract and we lose him for free, which is going to suck. But I think that is how we might end up.
Yeah, that I think that the club would rather cash out on him this year than go for we invested heavily in Aubameyang and keeping him here. And I think they have already seen signs from Pepe that Pepe is finally, getting
Yeah,
used to our style of play, and he has proven himself. I
true.
wouldn't deny that even one bit. But moving on to better things, and let's talk about Euros a little bit. Saka impressed yet again, and no surprises there. He is
No
definitely
surprise
something
there. Yeah,
that no surprises there. But again, massive rumors that Grealish is joining Arsenal, and that's not going to happen. We all know that. But Grealish and
yeah.
Saka's link-up play and how Grealish might actually benefit
No,
Arsenal, and
I don't know. I don't wait regarding Grealish. I don't know if you have noticed, read on Twitter today that today the rumor is that City have bid 100 million or so for Grealish, and that's quite official. So he was always bound to a bigger club, and Arsenal without Champions League and without the financial power, they were not in contention for Grealish, is what I feel. Yeah, but as
so
again, so England they had a different squad against Czech Republic, and they played pretty well. And yeah, like Saka won the man of the match. So he's the right now he's like the only main Arsenal player who's representing a national team. Tierney is out with Scotland, and Xhaka, well, I am already starting to consider him as a Roma player.
even when he was playing, I didn't really consider him playing for Arsenal ever. So I mean,
Yeah.
everybody pretty much knows my dislike
Yeah.
for him as a player. But let's talk about Euros. Any team that surprised you? I know Italy is, one of the contenders. I'm not talking about the
Yeah.
contenders, but teams that surprised you.
Teams that surprised me. I think one of the problems that I have with this entire tournament was the group stage, because by giving it has reduced that chances of surprises, in my opinion. And that is the fact that this entire tournament that has gone by, they gave, like, out of the 6 teams, 4 teams, I think third place teams would make it. It just cut down the competitive factor of this entire tournament. Like, you see the group of death: France, Germany, Hungary, and Portugal. Like, how great it would have been that if two of the teams were going to go through, and one of the big teams was going to go out, maybe, or maybe even two big teams, if like, oh, what, but it's like it was such a disappointing thing, because the group F, which it was the group of death, throughout the 90 minutes there were so many changes that took place in the group. But in the end, it was France, Germany, and Portugal that I mean, I know for quality of football in the further rounds it does improve, but as a group stage, the reason why I feel that there were not a lot of surprises was mainly because with these teams getting a chance to, like, getting like a second chance, even if they're not finishing in the top two, it kind of killed the excitement of the group stage for me.
For me, you're correct. There was the surprise for me was that group of death. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be a group of death, and all three teams that have qualified have played mediocre football so far.
Yeah.
None of them, you cannot pinpoint and say that France, with the big names that they have actually lived up to
Exactly.
their reputation.
Not at all.
Germany, with
Not
the
at all.
history that they have had one good game. We all saw the
Yes,
game
against
against
Portugal.
Hungary. Hungary was the
Yeah,
deserving winners there. If you ask me,
exactly.
Hungary
Yeah.
played with a lot more steel. And
Yeah.
the good thing about that, the good thing that could come out of that is now a big game, England versus Germany, will happen
Yes, that
on
would be
Tuesday.
a good.
So yeah, I'm looking
So,
forward to that one.
yeah, yeah. And apart from that, you asked me if any positive surprise. To be honest, there doesn't seem to be any team that, like, none of these underdog teams seem to have qualified, or someone who has rightfully qualified. And that for me is kind of disappointing, because in a normal case, maybe one of the because of the third place positions, most of the teams have just finished third and may have qualified. So there's no if at all, there are a lot of negative surprises, so as to say, like people who you expected to do really well, but had like a very that
Sure.
is there. But I don't think any team which was a small, supposedly a small team, has really outdone themselves, like and played really well. Like say for instance, take teams like Croatia, or like say Ukraine. Okay, Ukraine ended up winning, like they won one game. Okay, or maybe Sweden, say for instance, they had a thriller. All these teams, like they won one or two games, somehow, some very few won two games, but not in a convincing way, and it was nothing surprising, like so it was a very so I'm expecting better things to be take place in the knockout stage now.
I would agree with you. I feel that besides Italy, everything looks like all the other teams have pretty much looked mediocre with one or two
Yeah,
good moments happening in those games. And let's just, I mean, as it stands right now, I would say Italy should be clear-cut favorites to go at
I
least to
hope
the
so. It'll,
semifinals.
yeah,
At least to the semifinals. But yeah, the overall performance or the overall Euros have been pretty mediocre this time around. You haven't really
true.
seen
Yeah,
any standout performers. Um, Harry Kane has misfired. Harry Kane, we haven't really seen
yeah,
the Harry Kane that we know of. But again, he plays well for Tottenham. Uh, not as good for England historically. And again, that is going to be a big name that we can see getting transferred. Harry Kane is
true.
going, and
Yeah,
he is bound for big clubs and big things. He's a great player. So
yeah,
we might see him making a move right after the Euros.
yeah.
And again, I feel the destination might be City. City might
Highly
eventually end
possible.
up getting him.
Yeah,
Yeah, City might end up
yeah.
getting him. But let's wrap it up by saying who are your last eight? Uh,
uh,
let's start picking up Wales or Denmark.
I think Denmark will go through. Denmark seem to have more
Okay,
quality, is what I would prefer if Wales go through, because the Ramsey factor. But I think Denmark will go through in this one.
Italy and Austria. Italy. Let's move to the next one.
Italy, yeah.
Netherlands and Czech Republic.
Oh, Netherlands. Netherlands have been good, yeah.
Belgium, Portugal. That'd be a good
Oh,
game.
this is going to be a very interesting game. I have a feeling Belgium are going to make go through.
I have a feeling Portugal will go through. I have a feeling Ronaldo will actually score, not from the spot this time, but
Not from
he
this.
will actually score. Yeah, I have a feeling. Croatia or Spain?
Spain. Oh, wait, one second.
Uh,
This is a tough one. I mean, I wouldn't. On paper, you would say Spain will the same, but I wouldn't rule it past Croatia. Not that Croatia have been very good in this tournament, but Spain for me, they defeated Slovenia, 5-0. But apart from that, were very dull. Like just this possession, and they are a team that
yeah,
can be exploited.
I have a feeling that we might see a surprise there. We might see a
Yeah,
surprise. Croatia is
we might.
playing better as a team. Spain is not really. I mean, Spain has the potential to play
Yeah,
better than where they are right now. France and
yeah.
Switzerland. I think it's France. Then
I
the big
think it's
one, England,
France,
Germany.
definitely.
England, Germany.
Now, this is going to be like a very good game, because you have an English team which has really good talent, a lot of top talent, and you have a German team which is, let's just say, is not at its best as compared to previous years. Are England going to overthink it and play like a defensive and think that Germany is like strong? Or are England going to take the game to Germany? If England does take the game to Germany, England wins it. I think they'll easily win it. If not, I just think that mentality wise, Germany will nick this one.
I'm going 3-1 Germany. And last one is Sweden, Ukraine.
I think Sweden will get through, because Sweden
Sweden will
were
get
one of
through.
the teams that has played quite well. Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, Elroy, thank you for having being
Yes.
here. And guys, if you have come this far, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let us know how we are doing. And if you even give us a shout out, even better. And on that note, Elroy, thank you.
Yeah.
Stay
Thank
healthy,
you.
stay
Yeah.
safe wherever you guys are.
Sure.
And we'll talk soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.